define a fast.
So fasting is when your blood sugar comes down enough over a significant period of time. And usually that time is somewhere between 8 to 12 hours without food going in your mouth. Your blood sugar will come down and it triggers a response for your body to switch over to the fat-burning ketogenic energy system and to use a different fuel source.
So can we say that if you're fasting for 12 hours and every 24 hours, which some people would say is not a fast, some people say that's what we were all doing 50 years ago, which is probably true.
Probably true.
But essentially that's like having your breakfast at 8 a.m., finishing at 8 p.m., and then not eating anything until the following day's breakfast.
That's right.
So, that is very gentle. That qualifies as fasting according to you.
Yep.
And what kind of benefits do you think we can get?
We're seeing inflammation markers come down. That has been well researched. We're seeing a lot of metabolic markers that start to bring themselves down. You can see like 16-8 was one of the most popular studies ever done. It was an article printed in Cell Metabolism.
Yeah.
And
that's 16-hour fasting, isn't it?
Yeah, 16 hours fasting, 8-hour eating window. And they saw all the metabolic markers come down. Liver enzymes balanced out. Blood pressure came down. Cholesterol regulated. You were what I call metabolically immune from the damage of a Western diet. So if you don't want to change your diet, just fast 16 hours as much as possible, and you're resetting that whole metabolic system.
What about people who would say, hey, Mindy, listen, life is stressful enough, and fasting is an additional stressor on the body.
Yeah.
I don't think I should fast, but you're saying I should. How would you help them think about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we first started doing a lot of fasting in my clinic, I had a lot of patients with adrenal fatigue. And I was like, okay, how are we going to do this? And what I decided to do is take their eating window and slowly compress it. So I took whatever their natural state was. So let's say they're like 7 hours without eating. And I was like, okay, can we just go 7.5 hours? And I would try that. I'd have them do that for about a week. And if they were okay, then the next week I would be like, okay, can we do 8 hours? And so I call it tiptoeing in. I just slowly tiptoed them into this fasting lifestyle. And every single time they got more energy. Every single time those adrenals healed, to the point that I didn't even need any supplements anymore to help support them.
And when you say adrenal fatigue, are you essentially talking about people and women who have been under chronic stress for a sustained period of time?
Yeah, adrenal fatigue to me is a combination of the adrenal system, the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis is off. It's not working well.
Because a lot of people don't like that term, do they? They get very frustrated with that term. But I think what you're talking about is this chronic unmanaged stress that over time causes some dysfunction in that HPA axis, your hormonal kind of master control center in your body, as it were.
Yeah.
And you're saying that even in those cases, if you start small, you can bring up the fasting.
Right.
Yeah.
And to your cortisol question, exercise raises cortisol. So cortisol is not the enemy. We just don't know how to dance with cortisol yet. We haven't learned how to use cortisol. And if we look at like a little bit of cortisol is made to upregulate a lot of processes in our body. It's when it's done too much that it's a problem. So with somebody who's really worried about a stressed out life, they don't want to fast and create more cortisol surge. Then what I would say is like, let's just have a more gentle approach, just like you would have a more gentle approach with your exercise.
Yeah.
You don't want to go after it in a big way to raise cortisol up so high.
Yeah. I love that. And I guess another way I'm thinking about this for people, let's say a woman is listening to this and they're resistant to fasting. Mm-hmm. And let's say they're resistant more to 16-hour fasts, 20-hour fasts. And they've heard or they follow someone on social media who said, women shouldn't be fasting like that. Mm-hmm. Even if they simply took your advice about the cycle and the different phases and, in the final week before their period, were more kind to themselves and allow themselves to rest and nourish themselves more, and they exercise according to your recommendations at different parts of the cycle, well, even that is going to make massive improvements, even if they don't go the next step and do some of these longer fasts that I know you're a fan of.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. We're going into a lot of nuance because, there's people listening that are going to grab different things that will be helpful. But if you're overwhelmed, exactly what you said, let's just start to look at this week before our cycle and let's think of all the things we can do that we can mellow out on. And if we just did that and then minded the rest of the cycle, there would be so many health issues that would be helped. Yeah. We have a membership academy. It's called a Reset Academy, and we have thousands of women in there. And we do all kinds of different fasts together. Some of them, I would say the majority of them love what I call an autophagy fast, which is 17 hours because it's a bit of a detox. But about twice a year, we do a 3-day water fast together. A lot of them don't want to do that. And there's no judgment. I'm not like, hey, what do you mean you don't want to do it? It's a menu, those 6 fasts I put in Fast Like a Girl. It's just a menu. And you get to choose according to what you need.
You've helped thousands of women around the world improve their health, some with the help of fasting, some without that. There's 2 groups of women I just want to make sure we've covered. One is night shift workers.
Ooh, yeah.
And the other is athletes.
Yes.
Or people that are really into sport and let's say endurance sport. So let's start with shift workers because a huge part of the population is shift workers.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, let's say a female in their 40s who is starting to experience hormonal changes, but let's say they're a nurse.
Yeah.
Doing, 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. shift.
Yeah.
How would you advise them to maybe take some of your principles and feed that into their life? Because of course, their lifestyle is already against their natural circadian biology, right?
Yeah,
but I think you can still help them.
Okay, have you been watching my videos and you're like, I don't know how to put this stuff all together? You might need my fasting lifestyle free course. I'll teach you exactly how to do it. Just click on the link below. It'll take it to you and it's absolutely free. My gift to you.
Yeah, I think we just have to break it down. For starters, my heart goes out to the shift worker because there's a real hormonal shift that happens there. So let's say that 8 a.m. they go off to work.
Sorry, 8 p.m.
8 p.m., that's right. So I'm considering that they would eat dinner before that.
Yeah.
Now, there's 2 ways you can go about this. There's a part of me that if it was me, I would eat dinner at like 7:30, and then I wouldn't eat throughout my whole shift. And then I would come home in the morning and I would eat a light meal. So I'd probably have my biggest meal at 7:30 and have a light meal when I get home.
And what sort of meal would you have at 7:30 p.m. before your shift?
Oh, I'd have a lot of protein. I would have, because protein's going to give all the amino acids for your brain, for your energy. If you eat meat, I would have like a grass-fed steak and some salad and maybe a sweet potato.
Okay, so you'd have that before you go to your shift. Yeah. You would fast during your shifts.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for fluid and drinks?
You could drink, I'm a drink lover. So you could do mineral water with no sweetener. You could do regular water. You could do tea. You could do coffee. You could put like a mineral packet in there. Just make sure it doesn't spike your blood sugar.
So no juices.
No juices.
Soft drinks.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee with sugar to keep you up at night?
No.
So tea or coffee, fine, but you would say no sugar.
Yeah, no sugar and no NutraSweet, like any of the like synthetic artificial ingredients.
And why would you not say someone, again, this is optimal, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say to that nurse who may be knackered at 2 a.m. and is fancying a black coffee with a spoon of sugar in to help them get through the rest of their shift, why not the sugar?
Because it's going to raise your blood sugar up. So, what's a really interesting example of this is one of the more interesting fasting lifestyles I had to put together was an actress who had in the middle of the night, she was filming.
You wrote about this in the book. I remember reading it this morning.
Yeah. And so when she came to me, she's like, I'm exhausted. And so I gave her this exact protocol. I'm like, okay, we're going to eat before you go to bed, you're going to eat a big meal before you start filming, and you're not going to eat during the night while you're filming. And like within days, her energy went through the roof.
And we forget, don't we, sometimes that digesting food, of course, food is important, but it takes energy.
That's right.
Right? Quite a lot of energy
Yeah.
to digest our food.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we fasted for a while or not eaten for a while, we can have pretty good cognition,
Yeah.
and loads of mental energy.
One thing that I did when I first understood fasting is I wanted to bring it to my patient base. And every January, I gathered hundreds of people together and we would do what I call a reset, where we would do an experiment with new health tools. And we would do it for the whole month of January. And I had just discovered fasting. And I thought, oh my God, my patients are going to think I'm crazy. Like, I've been talking about food and quality of food, and now I'm going to tell them no food. So I decided to go on a 5-day water fast. And on the 5th day, I gave the presentation to them. And I explained all the science behind it. I told them what was going on. And then I said to them, and just so you know, it's Saturday today. I have not eaten since Sunday night. I'm like, do I look like I'm exhausted? Everybody came up to me afterwards. They were like, that was the best speech you ever gave. Like, they could see it very clearly that I wasn't dying. So to the shift worker, I would say if you could follow that pattern, you're actually going to be, your performance at work will be better. You're not gaining weight. You're minding melatonin a bit. And then you can go back into this recovery place.
I love that. Super helpful. For the athletes. So there's
yeah.
also this conversation online about female athletes and that fasting is not the right approach. They need food, they need energy. And I know there's a lot of nuance there, so I don't want to misrepresent anyone else's work. In Fast Like a Girl, I think there are a few case studies of athletes or female endurance athletes who you've helped.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what's your take on it?
Yeah. I will completely refute that statement because I saw it in my clinic all the time. My clinic was a bunch of 45 to 55-year-old, high-tech, overachieving, athletic people.
Yeah.
And so when we started implementing fasting, I watched their times improve in such a huge way. So we can't make a blanket statement like fasting's not good for an athlete.
Okay, are you fasting and you're still not losing weight? Check out this video because you might be missing a key part of your fasting experience that's gonna unlock weight loss. So if you think about it, all the humans that emerged out of that time have the gene that allows us to go without food. And that gene, they believe, is in all of us today.